What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2025 Mazda CX-90, courtesy of Hanover Mazda in Hanover, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we're in this one because this one is actually less expensive than the 2024 model year, which is pretty cool. This is officially the sophomore year of the CX-90, and in case you're curious, the CX-90 is competing with the Kia Telluride, Toyota Highlander, Honda Pilot, just to name a few. Yes, this is a three-row SUV. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Mazda CX-90. You got Select starting at $37,845, which by the way is $1,750 less than last year. That's pretty impressive. Preferred for $40,945, Premium Sport for $46,400, which by the way is a new trim level for 2025. Premium Plus for $49,400, S Premium for $52,950, and lastly the S Premium Plus going for $56,450. But as you can imagine, with all of those trim levels, there are a couple different power plants to go along with this one. First configuration here is going to belong to all the non-S trim levels. That one is powered by a 3.3 liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder, putting out 280 horsepower, 5,000 RPM, 332 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 2,000 RPM. That power being sent to all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic, 0 to 60 time coming in at approximately 7.2 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 24 in the city, 28 on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. But so then there is that other engine configuration, and the one that we have with us here today, that one's actually the same engine, but the boost is turned up to 19 PSI, so that puts out more power, of course, coming in at 319 horsepower, 5,500 RPM, 369 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 2,000 RPM. Again, power sent to all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic, 0 to 60 time for this one, though, 6.3 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 23 in the city, 28 on the highway. But this time, big difference here, taking premium unleaded fuel. So before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the CX-90, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There's a little drive mode toggle switch located just in front of the shifter. Drive modes will include normal, sport, and off-road, adjusting things like the shift points and the throttle response. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. I didn't mention it yet, we do have paddle shifters, so let's go ahead and test those out and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, trying to put it in first gear here. It does not want to hold first gear, unfortunately. It's one of those, but anyways, there's first gear. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, that was weird. Okay, they have a decent reaction time. I don't have a problem with that, but having said that, paddle shifters are kind of defeated in terms of pointlessness because they don't actually hold the gear. So if I let it go, it's just gonna go back to drive. So would have loved to have seen a full manual shift mode. I always love that when you have paddle shifters, just because that's kind of the point of paddle shifters, to have full control over the shifting. So Mazda, if you're watching this, go ahead and do that because that would be wonderful. But let's go ahead and find one more straight away here. Let's give back full control to the CX-90 and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2025 CX-90 here up to speed. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go. That's not bad. That's not that bad. Now, there was a little bit of turbo lag at the very beginning, but having said that, once it gets higher up in the RPMs, this thing has plenty of get up and go. You're not going to have any issues merging onto the highway. So that was kind of fun. But 0 to 60 is 6.3 seconds in a 3-row SUV. That's very impressive. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 13.7-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 13.8-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 120 feet, which is plenty, on par for the course right there. It's actually a little better than average, so nothing wrong with that. As far as braking feel goes, it's 100% on the firmer side of things. So this is a performance 3-row SUV. Love the braking feel in this thing without a doubt. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a double wishbone type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as ride quality goes, I will say you do tend to feel a little bit more of the road compared to some of the competition, but having said that, it's nothing that would personally bother me. It's plenty fine ride still, so yeah, no issues there. As far as steering feel goes, that's where the CX-90 is best in class without a doubt. This is such a nice steering feel. Instantly points you in the direction that you want to go. Typically in 3-row SUVs, you find a loosey-goosey steering feel. There's no emotion, there's no play to it. But the CX-90 really is a driver's 3-row SUV because there's a nice weight to it. It's on the heavier side of things. So because of that, going down these back roads here, you got better handling, better just overall feel to the steering. So it feels like a Miata in a 3-row SUV. So I love that. That's really what Mazda is known for, and they still are crushing it with the CX-90 when it comes to that. So as far as cabin noise goes, we're going 30 miles per hour right now. Definitely don't have any issues there. But then touching on rear visibility, I will say I got the 3rd row headrest up right now. I got the 3rd row up, and those headrests are definitely beefy. If I did not have that 3rd row up, I would imagine the visibility would be plenty fine. So if you're just using this SUV for 2 rows, it should be perfectly fine. But yeah, with the 3rd row up, those headrests are massive, and they do impede visibility a little bit. But other than that, you should be perfectly fine. Also though, touching on forward visibility, rain sensing windshield wipers do come standard for all trim levels across the board. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you. So just one less thing you got to worry about there. And also, it's hard to see through my sunglasses, but if I pull these up, I am looking at a head-up display right now. So it's pretty bright without sunglasses, but I'm looking at my speed as well as the speed limit, and it's going to display safety features up there as well of any given road. So you can better enjoy the drive in the CX-90 because this thing is quite fun. But anywho, that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Mazda CX-90. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Mazda CX-90, finished in Sonic Silver Metallic, in case you were curious of the exact exterior color name that we had with us here on this one here. But let me go ahead and start with what's new for the 2025 CX-90. The premium sport trim essentially is going to add all black accents. Let me start with that. Black front grille, black badging. You're going to have dark 21-inch wheels and a lot more black finishes to go along with that. So that's going to be the kind of sportier looking trim for this year, but that's really the main difference on the exterior. Now there are more differences on the interior, and we'll cover them as we go on. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the CX-90 is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter J, indicating that the CX-90 is built and assembled in Japan. A JDM SUV, you gotta love it. But starting up front here, LED headlights do come standard for all trim levels across the board. You do get LED daytime running lights along with that, along with the automatic feature and automatic high beams as well. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So gotta love that. Also, honeycomb mesh front grille does come standard. It's going to come with a matte black finish for the Select, but then a gloss black finish for all other trim levels. And then you're either going to get a black or a chrome front lip, in case you were curious, depending upon the trim level that you go with. So we got the chrome, but I think this is one of the best looking front ends for a 3-row SUV, if not the best. So definitely a very good looking design, but that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so but now swinging around to the side of this one, aluminum roof rails do come standard. Silver upper window trim for the premium plus trim level and up. Rear privacy glass does come standard on all trim levels across the board as well. Gonna find some black fender accents for the non-S trim level, but then there's gonna be a little kind of strip of chrome underneath of that found on the S trim levels, and it's going to say inline 6, in case you guys were curious. That of course is the engine that we have on the CX-90. Then taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals, and if you go with the premium plus trim level and up, they will also be power folding, so a little luxury feature there. But next I wanted to touch on the side skirts a little bit, because they are going to differ substantially dependent upon the trim level that you go with as well. So for the S trim levels, you're going to get body colored side skirts with that little chrome accent that says Mazda. That's what you guys are looking at. So very high-end looking finish. However, with the non-S trim levels, you are going to find matte black side skirts. So not a huge deal, but as far as design-wise, I personally like the body colored finishes, but that's just me. But then taking a look at the wheel setup, 19 by 8.5 inch alloys for the Select and Preferred, and then 21 by 9.5 inch alloys for the premium trim levels and up. So you're going to get not only larger wheels, but wider wheels as well for the premium trim levels and up. So Anywho, that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the CX-90, all the way to the top, body colored shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. You got the rear window wiper affixed to the rear glass there, of course, as well. LED taillights, they do come standard for all trim levels across the board. And then just below it all, you will find dual exhaust outlets. However, they are tucked away. Wouldn't have minded if they exposed them, since this is a sportier SUV. I think that's the sportier look in my opinion, but nonetheless, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of this one, when it comes to opening that rear lift gate, it is going to be a power lift gate for all trim levels across the board. You gotta love that. And a hands-free power lift gate for the premium trim level and up. There is a button, the rubberized button on the tailgate itself if you wanted to open it that way, and there is a button on the key fob then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 15.9 cubic feet behind that third row. If that was not enough space, of course the third row does fold down, bumping that up to 40.1 cubic feet. Then with all rows folded, 75.2 cubic feet. So it's a decent amount of space, but not quite as much as the competition. So Kia Telluride comes in at 88 cubic feet. Hyundai Palisade, I think it's 87.4, something like that. Honda Pilot, Toyota Highlander, they're all around 86, 87, so 75.2 is substantially less, at least when you're comparing it to other three-row SUVs, so wouldn't have minded if it was a little more space. But having said that, the selling point to this vehicle really is the driving dynamics and the steering feel and things like that. So anyways, you got LED cargo lighting back there, you got grocery bag hooks, you got tie-down anchors, there is a 12-volt power outlet as well, and then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a little bit of in-floor storage for you as well. But then making our way up to the third row legroom, that comes in at 30.4 inches, so not a ton of space, of course. I'll give this a shot though for reference. I mean, even 6 feet tall, this is how much space I had in the third row there. There is rear ventilation for all three rows, in case you were curious. There's cup holders back there, and to your surprise probably, there's USB charging ports for the third row passengers as well. Now you don't always find that for the third row, so I wanted to emphasize that. That's pretty cool. But then making our way up to the second row legroom, that's going to come in at 39.4 inches. Again, for reference, I'm still not even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the second row there. Heated second row though for the premium plus trim level and up. That is pretty stinking cool, so you get to spoil the rear passengers a little bit. Ventilated second row for the S Premium Plus. You gotta love that as well. As far as the configuration goes, you can get bench or captain's chairs. It's completely up to you. Second row USB charging ports for all trim levels across the board. Rear ventilation yet again for the second row as expected there. And then for the preferred trim level and up, you're going to find rear window sunshades for the second row passengers as well. So that's always nice for after you get fast food or something, you're just sitting in a parking lot and the sun's in one of your kids' eyes. So I'm a big fan of that. But then making your way up to the front seats, 8-way power driver seat with power lumbar for all trim levels, leatherette finish for the select, leather finish for the preferred trim level and up, heated front seats for the preferred trim level and up. You got memory settings for the premium trims, and that's actually located kind of by the driver's left knee as opposed to actually on the driver's side door, so it's a little bit different, so I wanted to mention that. Ventilated front seats for the premium plus trim level and up. You're going to get Napa leather seating for those S trim levels. You got to love that. And then a quilted Napa leather for the S Premium Plus. But overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was 100% on point. I'm telling you guys, the power lumbar is so freakishly adjustable. It's wonderful. So as far as seat comfort goes, I definitely did not have any issues there. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping, of course. It is leather wrapped. It is heated for the Premium Plus and S trim levels, and the one that we had today is actually power adjustable. So this really is a luxury vehicle on the inside for sure. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. You got your Mazda logo on the one side, nothing on the other side because all of your buttons are on the side of the key. You got lock, unlock, and that button to pop the rear tailgate there, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that black engine start button located just to the right of the gauges. And so speaking of, 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster for the Premium Plus trim level and up. and it definitely looks good in my opinion. Now the colors do change slightly depending upon the drive mode that you put it in. So if I put it in sport driving mode, there's going to be red hues absolutely everywhere. I think that looks dang good. Let me go ahead and switch it back to off-road here and see if that does anything. A little bit of maybe orange or tan hues, but really not that big of an adjustment there. Oh, the gauges themselves are a little bit different though. That's kind of cool. Like the actual the tachometer and speedometer look different, so that's kind of cool. And then normal is just black and white, but I kind of like the sport look the best. But I like how they didn't just change the colors, they actually changed like the loadout of what it actually looks like as well. So definitely a fan. But of course, since it's digital, it gives you outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty. There's speed limit recognition up there, so it gives you the speed limit of any given road. And of course, that's on your head-up display as well, like I was saying. But it's a plenty fine looking gauge cluster. I don't have any issues there. So now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality here. Power moonroof coming with the preferred, but then a panoramic moonroof coming with the premium plus trim level and up. That's what we got with us here today. Definitely letting in a lot of light here. Overhead sunglass holder that comes standard for all trim levels across the board. LED interior lighting as well. You get home link controls for the premium plus trim level and up. That's for up to 3 different garage doors, and that's found just below that frameless rear view mirror there. Wireless phone charger for the premium plus trim level and up, and that is located just in front of the shifter. Got a 12-volt power outlet just next to that. Just behind that, your dual cup holders. Everything surrounding the shifter and the cup holders here, it looks like a beechwood finish. It's not actually wood. I believe it's probably plastic, but it looks dang good, and that theme has continued onto the doors here as well. So overall, the look of it, definitely very nice. And then within the center armrest, it's not a very deep center armrest, but it's kind of wide, so I like the storage there. I don't have any issues there. And overall, there's just a lot of soft touch material, like just underneath the infotainment screen, on the doors as well. And everything is finished pretty darn good. The only thing I think I would change is surrounding the shifter. It's just a matte black plastic, so maybe I would switch that up. But other than that, everything looks pretty darn good. Now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen here. It is a 12.3-inch infotainment screen for all trim levels but the Select, but that bottom trim. Bluetooth and audio streaming coming with that. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, factory navigation system is going to be available. You can check out your fuel information up there as well, of course, along with your radio information. And by the way, before we do the radio information, this is not a touchscreen. It's all controlled by using the circular dial and buttons located directly behind the shifter. It's not that bad. It's kind of a reach if it was a touchscreen, so I probably wouldn't even want it to be, but it is pretty darn easy to use after you get used to it. I've test driven enough Mazdas at this point to know that you do get used to it. It's very simple to use, and it's probably better that it's set up this way rather than the touchscreen, honestly, because this is more of a driver's car. If it was a touchscreen, you'd probably be taking your eyes off the road a little bit more, but that's just my opinion. But radio information, when it comes to that, 8 speakers for the Select and Preferred, and then a 12-speaker Bose sound system for all the other trim levels. So having said that, let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. That's really good. That's a really good sound system. So you guys probably know at this point, Bose is a very reputable company. They've been around forever. I've had them in my vehicles before, and they've never failed me or broke or anything like that. So definite, very nice company. Plenty of bass with that, plenty of clarity. Like, that's a really good sound system for what the CX-90 is, for sure. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the CX-90 in reverse, you will find a very extremely high definition rear view camera. I love that. And you also got that 360-degree monitor there to the right for the Premium Plus trim level, and the S trim levels at least is how you get that bird's eye view. But very high definition. I love that. But as always, that is going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with the best part. IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest rating given by IIHS. So that pretty much says it all right there. Front side carrying airbags do come standard. Driver and passenger knee airbags as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. A blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. Lane keep assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control with stop and go. Any driver attention monitoring system as well. But then if you were to go with the premium trims and up, you will also get front and rear parking sensors. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the CX-90, I really like this thing specifically for the driving dynamics. It does that so much better than all of the competition it goes up against. So the handling, the steering feel, the firm braking feel, 0 to 60 in 6.3, that's incredible. So Overall, really, really good driving dynamics in the CX-90. It feels like you're driving a Miata, but it's got all the utility because this is a 3-row SUV after all, so that's dang good. Great styling as well. Definitely a very nice design. Overall, Mazda crushes it with their design, so big fan of that. Also very nice interior quality, quite honestly, so I don't have an issue with that. The only constructive criticism I can give for this thing really is the fact that it needs more space. Like 75 point whatever I said cubic feet. It's a good bit of space, don't get me wrong, but when you compare it to the competition, it doesn't come close to that space. So like a Kia Telluride, Honda Palisade, Honda Pilot, Toyota Highlander, they have so much more space in this thing. But if you're a driver enthusiast and you want 3 rows, this is the only option. This is how you get that perfect blend of fun and practicality with the 3 rows as well. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of the CX-90 in the comments section below. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff if you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews, because that's what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.